We're all good Unitarian Universalists coming in right at the nick of time. Welcome to First Parish Needham, a Unitarian Universalist congregation. You're welcome here no matter how or if you envision a higher power, who you love, what your background or identity is, your age or ability, or whether you're in the building or online. I'm Claire Galkowski. My pronouns are she, her. My husband Jan and I have called First Parish Needham our church home since 2016. I just rejoined the choir. Yay! Oh, what a nice reception. And I sincerely love helping my fellow waste warriors, Muriel, Leslie, and Meyer, with coffee hour cleanup. But the thing that really floats my boat is the Green Congregation Committee, steadfastly led by my friend Eleanor Rossellini. Today is Sunday. It's not just Sunday, it's Sunday. Sunday is a global day of action, celebrating the unstoppable rise of clean energy. Bill McKibben conceived of this, and if you get the Boston Globe, check out the feature article in the Globe magazine with an interview with him. Don't we all need something to celebrate right now? I know I do. I'm proud that the Unitarian Universalist Association is a sponsor of this big day. Green Needham has a display in front of our building highlighting the tremendous increase in solar panel installations in the town of Needham. About 10% of households generate their own electricity. I'll be joining a joyful pilgrimage at the Old South Church in Boston at 1 p.m. We'll be singing our way to the Common for a multi-faith celebration of hope at 2 o'clock. At First Parish, the Green Congregation will have a table at social hour too. I hope you'll all stop by. We'd love to know what efforts you've taken to tread more lightly on our little planet. You can note them on our leaderboard and see what others are doing too. We also have a coloring sheet for kids and grown-ups too. I had fun coloring this one in. Thanks to the financial and moral support from you, our congregation, the Property, Parish, and Green Congo committees have modernized our buildings to become beacons of sustainability. The 2008 church renovation, complete with electric heat pumps, slashed the church's carbon footprint. I'd like to shout out to our resident expert, Ed Quinlan. I don't see him here, but he's where? He's in Iceland. Okay. Well, I guess he's not here then. 6 years later, we installed a 38-panel solar array. It's produced 192,000 kilowatt hours of electricity so far and provides half of the church's needs. The sun's energy paid for the $28,000 installation cost and has contributed another $20,000 in savings since as well. And the sun has pledged another $60,000 in future energy savings. Oh, I'm glad you got that. The rest of our electricity comes from Needham Power Choice 100% green. Altogether, this has kept nearly 100 tons of carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere so far. There's still so much to be done, especially in this time of crisis when renewable energy and planetary protections are being gutted at the federal level. We invite you to join us in securing a healthy future on our beautiful planet. In the words of Jane Goodall, hope requires action. And in our own covenant, we promise to live our beliefs through action and care for our world. You can learn more about all that's happening at First Parish by going to our website, uuneedham.org, and signing up for our weekly email newsletter, the Bell Notes. They're awesome. Or by following us on social media. Our order of service is online too, at the QR code in your pews and at the website, uuneedham.updates.church. Please speak with our ushers, greeters, and Zoom hosts if you have questions or accessibility needs. Welcome again to everyone here in the building and online. We're so glad you're all here. All
right, so
And
next.
now, go ahead.
I got you. Next in our service, we have a participatory introit here. So hopefully you know the song, You Are My Sunshine. If not, have fun listening. But Claire had found one that had different verses that line up more with what our theme is today. So you, in your order of service, have the verse that we're going to sing together, and then Claire's going to sing a couple other verses, and then we'll sing the chorus again at the end. So Chris will play the tune the whole way through one time, and then we'll sing the chorus.
You are our sunshine, our only sunshine. Our greenhouse gases must go away. We hear your warning about global warming. Tomorrow will be a brighter day. We can no longer just stand by as glaciers melt and species die. Land disappears, millions in tears. It is time to clean up our skies. So rise up and take control. It's our world, the only one we know. Solar, wind, and hydro too is our future. It's up to me and you. You are our sunshine, our only sunshine. Greenhouse gases must go away. We hear your warning about global warming. Tomorrow will be a brighter day.
As we light our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, we read words from your American UU minister, Reverend Sharon Wiley, written in honor of the equinox, which is tomorrow. The hours of night and day are in balance. In honor of earth-centered traditions that celebrate this time of year, we observe that our flaming chalice holds the traditional elements of the four directions. The wick for earth, the north. The air, the east, that feeds the flame. The fire, the south, we light. And the chalice itself, the cup, a symbol of water, the west. We light our chalice and reflect on the balance we seek in our lives, the balance we seek in our hearts, the balance we seek in our world.
At First Parish, we covenant to live our shared values of the inherent worth and dignity of all persons, respecting our only home, the earth, and co-creating beloved community. Whether we participate in our community online or in the building, we strive to live these promises every day. Please say along with me the words of our parish covenant in your orders of service. We gather as a loving community to encourage and comfort one another. We gather as a diverse community to support each other in our search for spiritual truth. We gather as a service community to live our beliefs through action and care for our world.
Today is not just Sunday, but as Claire mentioned, it is Sunday. all across the globe, from the Kathmandu Valley in Nepal to Bulgaria, from Berlin and London to Boston, Massachusetts, we are celebrating the unstoppable rise of clean energy. One of our UU shared values of interdependence calls us to protect the earth and all beings from exploitation. We are called to create and nurture sustainable relationships grounded in respect and justice.
Hope requires action. Let's see how active our community is in the effort to turn climate change around. Please stand up, raise your hand, hold up the pew cards, or otherwise indicate if you are taking any of the following hopeful actions. If you're on Zoom, you can use a react button in the center of the bottom bar. After you've indicated that you do something, please stay standing, because we're going to finish up with a song. Okay, first question. Have you installed or do you plan to install solar panels on your home? So go ahead and stand up if you can, or raise your hand if you prefer. Thank you. Wow. Pretty good. I think we've got a lot more than 10% here, so we got a good representation.
Do you subscribe to a 100% renewable option, like Needham's 100% green or Westwood Plus for your electricity? Yeah. Seeing some good hands.
Wow, we're getting up there already. Do you drive an electric vehicle or a hybrid car?
All right, yeah. Do you ever carpool, bike, walk, or take the bus or train to work or to school? Ah, there we go. There's some good public transportation, carpooling options.
And we're only halfway through our questions. Do you only fly if you have to? We need to grow a few more.
I only fly if I have to, but for different reasons. Have you contacted an elected official in support of environmental legislation?
Wow, we're almost there. Have you ever participated in a climate demonstration? Wow.
Do you usually remember to bring your own bags to the store, or a reusable water bottle, or lunchbox to school or to work?
Wow. Do you use rags instead of paper towels at home? Wow.
This is great. Do you compost at home, or at the transfer station, or at the curb?
And finally, are you sure that you recycle right? If you're not, we'll have some little cards on the table just to clarify things. So it looks like everybody's standing here, John.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love everybody's indicated they do at least one of these things. Most of you have indicated that you do multiples. That's great. So now we're going to join together in a song written by local Rabbi Shoshana Friedman that's been sung at many climate protests, including the direct actions against the West Roxbury lateral gas pipeline 10 years ago.
The tide is rising, and so are we. The tide is rising, and so are we. The tide is rising, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The land is holy, and so are we. The land is holy, and so are we. The land is holy, and so are we. This be. The sun is shining, and so are we. The sun is shining, and so are we. The sun is shining, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The world is ready, and so are we. The world is ready, and so are we. The world is ready, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be.
Thank you so much, everyone. You've done such a great job singing these off-hymnal songs today. Congrats to everyone. And now, as our children follow John and their wait, do you have a closing? Sorry, did I interrupt you? No. Great. We're organized. As our children follow John and their teachers to their first Sunday of their age-specific religious exploration opportunities, please join in singing Long Time Son as in your orders of service and on screen.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on.
This is the time in our service when we share joys, sorrows, and cares for our world that are very close to our hearts and to our lives. As you know, we've been experimenting with a new way of doing our candles rituals, writing candle cards and lighting candles during the worship service now or later. You can come up to the candles table at any time to fill out a candles card, either right now for me to share aloud or to place in our book of life. Please remember that I receive pre-submitted candles at candles@uuneedham.org. We have a candle of joy from Andrea and Neil Goldberg. They are feeling blessed this morning to have their son Josh and daughter-in-law Selena visiting from Los Angeles for an extended period of time. Welcome, Selena and Josh. What a blessing. I have a pre-submitted candle of concern now. We hold these concerns in our hearts. Our first parishioner, Jen Duhamel, her father has been hospitalized. He's been in off and on ill health for a while, and we hold him in our heart as he continues to receive treatment. And finally, we share these hopes and prayers for our world. This is a candle of concern for ongoing threats to our First Amendment right to free speech without retribution from the government. May we be brave and resolute in defending and upholding such human rights in our community and our nation. And we have a candle of sorrow and repentance to the people of Gaza, as once again our government representatives at the United Nations have blocked a resolution that would demand the Israeli and Hamas governments commit to a ceasefire and the release of hostages. May we continue to hold in our hearts and do what we can, all of the people, the civilians who are affected by this ongoing violence, especially the children of Gaza. Thank you so much for sharing these joys, sorrows, and cares for our world, for all of those joys and sorrows that remain silent in our hearts, and for the prayers of our neighbors near and far. We light one final candle. May the peace of this sanctuary be felt wherever you are participating from, as we remember that even though worshiping in different times and places, we are still deeply connected. And I invite you now to become comfortable yet alert wherever your body is now, and join in the spirit of meditation with these words from Euro-American Zen Buddhist monk Brother Stream. These words inspired by the earth-touching rituals developed by his teacher, Vietnamese Zen Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh. You'll hear our singing bowl sound a few times during this meditation, and you can take that as an opportunity to connect and reconnect with your breath as we breathe in and breathe out. Mother Earth, your deep love permeates all of us, your children. Thanks to this love, we have learned how to shine the light of mindfulness on the pain of our collective consciousness to bring about healing and transformation in ourselves and in the world. We know now that the climate and ecological crisis, including the mass extinction of species, results from our individual and collective ignorance about the full effects of our actions. Mindfulness allows us to be fully present, alert, fearless, and free, to see how our choices have real effects on you, Mother Earth, on the climate and on people, animals, plants, and minerals. In this way, we see clearly what to do and what not to do. We commit to cultivating the energy of mindfulness in our daily lives by remembering to stop, to come back to our breathing, and to become aware of what is going on within us and around us in the present moment. We see it is a joy to be alive. We will practice to nourish ourselves with the wonders of the present moment so we have more energy to act for change and to help ourselves and our communities heal the collective wounds at the root of the climate and ecological crisis. We do not let ourselves be carried away by the emotions and desires of the majority or by expectations of what must happen in the future. we are able to access the deep stores of energy transmitted to us by our blood, spiritual, and land ancestors who worked tirelessly in the spirit of service and love for the sake of your well-being, Mother Earth, and to transform situations of social injustice. Mindful that all states, governments, and institutions are of the nature to form and to collapse, that they are impermanent, we will continually do our best to address real social and ecological injustice by building resilient and regenerative communities. Doing this, we plant seeds that will sprout into new cultures and societies. There is no limit to what is possible, and we continue to work for the liberation of all beings in whatever form they may take in the future. Amen. Please remain seated and join in singing our meditative response, Spirit of Life. The words are in your orders of service on screen and at number 123 in your gray hymnals.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shade of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
This congregation has been supported by the volunteered time and treasure of its members and friends since its founding in 1711. This is the time in our service when we, the modern stewards of the church, offer what we can to build and sustain the congregation and the world we envision. For the month of September, our collection is split 50-50 between First Parish and the Generic Ministry. The Generic Ministry is a Needham-based nonprofit whose volunteers gather, sort, and provide clothing, food, toiletries, blankets, and water to people experiencing homelessness on the streets of Boston. Generic Ministry volunteers drive its van into the city twice weekly to minister to unhoused people in need. And First Parish has been a proud supporter of Generic Ministry since its founding over 20 years ago. To donate to today's offering, you can use one of 3 different methods as described in detail in your orders of service, using text to give, donating through the website, or dropping a check or cash into the collection plate, or mailing a check to First Parish. Whichever way you donate, please remember to specify whether it's meant for the plate collection or your annual pledge. And if this is one of your first visits to First Parish, we encourage you to fill out a yellow card in your pew back to drop into the collection plate, or to fill out our online visitors form at uuneedham.updates.church. And many thanks this morning to Lynn Jakowski for our beautiful flowers dedicated to her newly 6 grandchildren. Thank you all for everything you are able to give to help support and sustain this congregation and the vital work of our community partners. May the ushers please come forward. Our reading this morning comes from former U.S. Poet Laureate and Muskogee author and singer-songwriter Joy Harjo. This is her poem, Talking with the Sun. I believe in the sun. In the tangle of human failures of fear, greed, and forgetfulness, the sun gives me clarity. When explorers first encountered my people, they called us heathens, sun worshippers. They didn't understand that the sun is a relative and illuminates our path on this earth. After dancing all night in a circle, we realize that we are a part of a larger sense of stars and planets dancing with us overhead. When the sun rises at the apex of the ceremony, we are renewed. There is no mistaking this connection, though Walmart might be just down the road. Humans are vulnerable and rely on the kindnesses of the earth and the sun. We exist together in a sacred field of meaning. Our earth is shifting. We can all see it. I hear from my Inuit and Yupik relatives up north that everything has changed. It's so hot. There is not enough winter. Animals are confused. Ice is melting. The quantum physicists have it right. They are beginning to think like Indians. Everything is connected dynamically at an intimate level. When you remember this, then the current wobble of the earth makes sense. How much oil can be drained without replacement, without reciprocity? I walked out of a hotel room just off Times Square at dawn to find the sun. It was the 4th morning since the birth of my 4th granddaughter. It was the morning I was to present her to the sun, as a relative, as one of us. It was still dark, overcast as I walked through Times Square. I stood beneath a 21st century totem pole of symbols of multinational corporations made of flash and neon. The sun rose up over the city, but I couldn't see it amidst the rain. Though I was not at home bundling up the baby to carry her outside, I carried this newborn girl within the cradleboard of my heart. I held her up and presented her to the sun, so she would be recognized as a relative, so that she wouldn't forget this connection, this promise, so that we all remember the sacredness of life. Here ends our reading. During our last week of summer leave, my family accepted the invitation to spend a week on Star Island in the Isle of Shoals off the coast of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It may be or may sound familiar to many of you because Unitarian Universalist summer camps and conferences have operated on Star Island for over a century. 2 of our first parishioners invited me to serve as Minister of the Week, offering a chapel service each morning and opportunities for pastoral care, while our daughter played with other 4 to 6-year-olds and my spouse read books and played softball with the other campers. There's much more to say about our very first UU family camp experience, but I bring it up today because it was so hot. The temperature climbed to nearly 80 degrees every day despite being surrounded by the chilly Atlantic Ocean. We heard from the folks polar bearing into the ocean each morning that it was unusually comfortable. I still didn't do it. This meant that back on the mainland, where perhaps many of you were, New Englanders were dealing with highs in the 90s, a heat emergency. I might have been better able to manage my rising anxiety due to the rising temperatures if Sophia hadn't been going through a magic school bus phase. I had rented audiobooks through the library, and for a time she was listening to those on repeat on her 21st century equivalent of a tape deck. Her favorite story that particular week was The Magic School Bus and the Climate Challenge. Are you familiar with the Magic School Bus? A picture book series begun in the 80s turned into animated edutainment as a show in the 90s. Each book or episode tells a story about a science field trip with Miss Valerie Frizzle's elementary school class of 8 children. A magical field trip on their magic school bus, as in if the planetarium is closed, the bus turns into a rocket ship and blasts off into space. If a classmate is sick, the bus becomes microscopic to enter the bloodstream and watch the immune system at work, and so on. This went on for so many seasons. So much science. In the climate challenge, the kids fly around the world and see the effects of global warming. Melting ice caps and permafrost, stronger hurricanes, blizzards, and wildfires, struggling food crops, animal and plant species going extinct. "This is terrible," the class says in unison, I heard over and over again while sweating in the New England heat wave. Euro-American environmentalist and Christian pastor Reverend Brian McLaren explains there's a whole new genre of science fiction that's often called cli-fi, or climate fiction. And it's trying to help us face and understand what's going on with the changes in our own climate because of human interference with the natural systems of this earth. And a lot of cli-fi is very, very despairing. It tries to help us see where we're going, and that is a scary experience. And I think that kind of sci-fi and cli-fi is very, very necessary. We need to be awakened from our slumber to see where we're headed. We need a warning. Not that we need cli-fi for that if we're paying attention. Last month marked 20 years after Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast, and in New Orleans and many other communities, recovery is still a distant dream. And how many other massive hurricanes have we experienced in the United States since then? You may be thinking, Reverend Katie, the Green Congregation team said this International Sunday was a celebration. Why are you reminding us of natural disasters and Miss Frizzle's doom and gloom lessons? Euro-American UU minister Reverend Sherry Woodbury preached that yes, climate change is already well underway. There is plenty to be afraid of. The trouble with unbridled fear is that it constrains the imagination and therefore the future. If we can calm our very valid fears long enough to open our imaginations, I believe we can find a way forward to the world that we want. Facing the future with hope and creativity, conspiring to create something new, is a more vibrant and fulfilling way to spend our precious time on Earth than shutting out the harsh realities and going about business as usual. She adds, at any moment in history, people did not know whether life would continue as they knew it or whether it would come to an end in some catastrophe, as has happened for various peoples and species, or whether something new would take hold. Visionaries are usually people who imagine something that seems wholly improbable to others and who go for it anyway. For today's service, I was really inspired by this collection of interviews by Black marine biologist, activist, and author Dr. Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson. This is entitled, "What If We Get It Right? Visions of Climate Futures." In the introduction, Dr. Johnson wrote, "We find ourselves at a time of reckoning, at an inflection point for humanity. What we will inflect toward is not clear. It has not yet been determined how much global temperature will increase, how much sea levels will rise, how we will adapt to the inevitable and prevent the worst, or how we will treat each other amidst it all. Set aside your resignation and nihilism. There is a wide range of possible futures. Peril and possibility coexist. Because for every disastrous future we may read about in a scientific journal or a cli-fi novel, that's based on a certain set of assumptions of how humanity might behave in the next few decades. And every positive, inspiring future we may read about is also based on a certain set of assumptions on how humanity might behave in the coming decades. We are individually and especially collectively empowered to shape the future we are moving toward. Queer Black author, activist, and doula Adrienne Marie Brown said on the podcast On Being, "We're in an imagination battle. I think about it often that we live in this abundant world and we've been told it's scarce. Then we're given all these stories of scarcity. So much of this work for me of radical imagination is, what does it look like to imagine beyond these constructs? What does it look like to imagine a future where we all get to be there, not causing harm to each other, and experiencing abundance?" In Dr. Johnson's interviews, those she interviews talk about how all of the technology already exists for a just transition. It is simply a matter of choosing to implement. And I thought it might encourage us if we might take a jaunt through Needham in our imaginations, projecting maybe about 30 years from now. That's what the book recommended. 30 years. Long enough for some of our lifetimes, far enough that we don't get too bogged down in the details as we imagine how it comes to be. Thinking about what it might look like if we get it right. So you're invited, go with me in your minds into that future. Out our vestibule and meeting house great doors, heading down the ramp toward Needham Center. First, we might notice that it's so much quieter. We can hear the birds and the little peepers and people talking and laughing. The ring of a trolley run on plug-in electricity sounds as it rolls up Dedham Ave and onto Highland. The train horn really surprises us because there's no engine noise anymore. The electric cars, shuttles, buses, and bikes make a soft, pleasant hum to warn us of their approach. We still need to use the walk signal to safely cross Great Plain Ave with all these quiet vehicles moving about. The roads in the sunlight glitter, sparkle, with tough and efficient solar panels embedded into the asphalt. The farmers market is still open for the season, of course, with fresh local food. We don't import as much from faraway places. Tropical fruits are rarer. And when the market closes for the season, we have to rely on what we've stored. But we know how to do that once empty storefronts in town center are occupied with an expanded customer base around town and from neighboring communities due to more frequent and reliable public transit. Some of the stores provide materials for and teach how to can fruits and vegetables for the winter. Some support reusing and repairing mechanical tools and vehicles. Some have supplies and advice for sewing, mending, and upcycling clothes and fabrics, and others offer home gardening supplies for both food and flowers. And in some ways, we look forward to the cooler months for what comes to the town common next. In the crop off season, there's an enormous community yard sale that meets regularly, started, of course, on the first parish lawn, and then moved to the town common a few years back. There's this yard sale and a swap culture much beyond the dump, including and especially age-bound family items like bassinets and baby and kids' clothes and toys. Under the leadership of local indigenous communities like our friends at the Natick Praying Indians, the town common and other public green spaces have been rewilded, with minimal ongoing land management intervention from paid public servants to remove hardy invasive species and to keep animals and smaller humans safe from poisonous natives like bittersweet nightshade and poison ivy. Because of significant changes in our legal structure, The rights of the collective, including the rights of non-human species, are recognized. So we do have to strategize living with plants that might give us a tummy ache, might make us itchy. The soil has been enriched by such native polyculture, and native plants and animals live again in a balanced, thriving ecosystem, especially in places like the town forest and Cutler Park. In our region, rain gardens and flood-friendly plants help moderate the excessive precipitation we still receive because of climate change. We could glance back down Chapel Street to see that the Glover, BID Needham, whatever it's called then, is thriving because of government-assured health care for all, a necessity for just transition. Its ER isn't so busy anymore now that preventative care is so much more robust and with pollution better under control. Outside the hospital, there's just not very much single-use plastic, and researchers are working on solutions for medical needs. We've learned to collectively and individually compost, and we repair instead of trashing and buying new. There's not as much trash. We don't have dumpster problems next to the church property anymore. That's an inside not joke for a certain few who know about the dumpster problems. Heading north, we might notice that the gas stations are now charging stations, vehicles plugged into a renewable electric grid. Instead of patching up or building new gas and oil lines over the past 30 years, we've replaced them with new energy infrastructure, thanks to activists like our member of blessed memory, Clark Taylor, getting arrested out of a hole in West Roxbury. One of the best days of his life, he had told me. The reopened Kindred assisted living site in Needham Heights is open again, has apartments of many sizes to welcome households of many sizes, and with local regulations and zoning changes, fewer starting homes have been torn down and more homes have been converted or built as double and triple deckers or with accessory dwelling units for multi-generational family living. We see families out enjoying time together on Sunday afternoon. And every new and remodeled home has many government-required green architectural improvements with great insulation, heat pumps, and green roofs covered in gardens, solar arrays. Moss is cultivated and grown on walls, converting more carbon dioxide into oxygen and insulating buildings from the heat and the cold. In fact, there are solar panels and plants and moss on every building that could house and grow them. Why wouldn't there be? Neighborhood-wide batteries ensure that renewable power can be stored and shared locally. It's much easier to sustain the electric grid when it's decentralized. When we finally make our way toward Cutler Park, we see fewer cars and trucks on 128. And they've all been electrified, one after the other, since the 2020s. The public transit is so much better, and we do not miss the rush hour traffic, nor the air pollution. We can wave to our Citizen Conservation Corps members, career folks, and gap year young people who are working on repairing public and private infrastructure after a hard rain and flooding along the Charles. These public servants are rooted in the Metro West community, and following the advice of scientists and engineers, already had plans in place for such natural disasters in our region, more likely due to climate change, with fewer international incidents and tensions because of fossil fuel resources, water, power, unbalance between nations. Due to these resources, the military-industrial complex has waned, while infrastructure core have risen. Maybe we take a rest on a bench in Cutler Park. It's been a long stroll. The folks we see going around the park are happier, more relaxed. In addition to universal health care, Just Transition included changes to work hours and benefits, funding for childcare and elder care, better access to trade schools and universities, life's basics, shelter, food, water, community, are no longer out of reach, no longer so precarious. People pursue livelihoods that are fulfilling and have time for family and for friends and for hobbies that keep their minds, bodies, and spirits joyful and healthy. There is no longer the overwhelming undercurrent of helplessness and fear about whether the planet will be livable for our descendants. But we know it will still be a while before climate weirding and climate disasters cease. Locally, we do still have a lot of flooding, and yet still not as much snowfall as skiers and ice skaters would prefer. We put so much extra carbon into the atmosphere, so much pollution into the land and water. It will take time to clean it all up, but we are flattening the curve of the climate crisis and funding scientific research and practical implementation necessary to get to carbon zero, and one day, maybe back to normal for our descendants. We can rest cheerfully, relaxed on our bench at Cutler Park, as we know we've moved back from the brink. Adrienne Marie Brown offers a quote from Black science fiction writer and educator Octavia Butler. "There is nothing new under the sun, but there are new suns." And Brown adds, "We are in a time of new suns. We have no idea what we could be. But everything that we have been is falling apart. So it's time to change." May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Our closing hymn, Earth Was Given as a Garden, has lyrics from modern UU Quaker Roberta Bard. We've modified a line in the second verse to make the lyrics gender inclusive. You're invited to please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing Earth Was Given as a Garden. The lyrics are in your orders of service and on screen.
To
As we near the end of our service, let me highlight for you some of what's coming up soon at First Parish. All are welcome at our social hour after the postlude, both online and on site. If you're on site and a relative newcomer and you would like long-timers to come and chat with you, please take one of the red mugs at social hour. And for all of you, please say hello to our Green Congregation team at their table for Sunday, as described in our welcome. You can find Susan Kamudi to learn more about playing mahjong with your fellow First Parishioners, and you can speak with Lynn Jakowski to learn more about this fall's round of friendly feast dinners. And if your kid loves to sing, remember that Song Squad is gathering this afternoon at noon, I guess that's kind of the afternoon, down in the music room with Laura and Chris. This afternoon, a little bit later, some First Parishioners are headed to Boston for the Sunday March. Some are headed to the celebratory groundbreaking of the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute's new National Center of Healing, Teaching, and Learning. And some First Parishioners are staying in Needham for a fundraiser concert for Ukraine at Christ Church Episcopal. Our teens are also gathering for the first time this church year for coming of age and senior youth group. Please be in touch with our Director of Religious Exploration, John Newhall, if you have questions about any of our programs for kids and teens. Coming up this week, all are welcome at Wednesday Yoga, Thursday Writing Escapes, and Friday Creative Escapes. Our online Thursday Vesper services are also restarting this week, and you can find me at North Hill for UU worship on Wednesday afternoon and here at First Parish on Thursday for hybrid lunch bunch. I hope to see many of you as well at the Natick Praying Indians annual powwow on Saturday. And next Sunday, I hope all of you will stay for a special volunteer lunch during social hour hosted by our Vice President, Dennis Ross-Degnan, and the Program Council and the Parish Committee. Not only will you get to eat some great food and socialize, you'll get to learn a lot more about the activities and programs at First Parish. You can find the details about all of our upcoming events by subscribing to our e-newsletter, The Bell Notes, which you can also find in our online order of service at uuneedham.updates.church. We always extinguish our chalice with words, promising to carry its flame in our hearts until we are together again. Please join me from home and here in the building in saying those words written by UU Minister Reverend Elizabeth Sally Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As we close our service today, I invite you to join me in a responsive benediction, unusual, with words from Euro-American Christian writer and environmentalist Wendell Berry. I'll read the plain type, you all will respond from here, from home, with the italicized type. You can find that in your orders of service on screen and at number 465 in your gray hymnals. If we will have the wisdom to survive, to stand like slow-growing trees on a ruined place, if we will make our seasons welcome here, asking not too much of earth or heaven, their houses strongly placed upon the valley sides, and over it bird song like a canopy. On the steeps where greed and ignorance cut down the old forest, the veins of forgotten springs will have opened, families will be singing in the fields. They will take nothing from the ground, they will not return, whatever the grief at parting. The abundance of this place, the songs of its people and its birds will be health and wisdom and indwelling light. Our service begins when our service ends. Blessed be, and amen.